Hey everyone, welcome to UAV Works, and today we are back with another tutorial to add to our how-to series. First, let me give you a big thank you for all the support you guys have given me on the previous tricopter build tutorial, and if you haven't done so already, please go check it out. The link will be in the annotation. Before we begin, it would really help me tremendously if you could hit the like button below. As a growing channel, every like, share, favorite, and comment can help me reach more DIYers just like you who can then benefit from the video. So with that said, let's get down to business. Today we are going to be building our very own 5.8 GHz antenna. If you're interested in an antenna for another frequency like 2.4 or 1.3 GHz, the process is very much the same, and you can still use this video. You'll just have to change the spacing between the coils and the diameter of the former, which is the dowel or rod you wrap your wire around to give the copper wire shape. The written guide to this will also be linked in the annotation, so maybe if there's enough interest, I'll release templates for these other frequencies. If you want that, please let me know by leaving a comment. In this first part, we're primarily going to be focusing on shaping the copper wire into a helical form by using our former, which is just this 5/8 inch wooden dowel here. You could use a PVC pipe or pretty much anything that's non-conductive. Over here you can see we have copper wire, 10 Og. I'm using 10 Og because there's a very specific impedance that this helical antenna has to be matched with. So I'm not using any wave trap or matching methods. Using a thicker wire for 5.8 GHz is enough. I've talked to the original creator of this antenna, and 10 Og for 5.8 GHz is thick enough so that you don't have to use any wave traps. That just simplifies the build all that much more, you know. And over here, set of pliers for shaping the copper round. Here, diagonal cutters. I really recommend a good set of diagonal cutters because you're going to be cutting pretty thick copper here, and having a good pair of diagonal cutters really help you. So here, as I said before, 5/8 inch dowel. You might actually need 1/2 inch dowels if you're using a thinner wire than 10 Og, and I'll go over that a little later when I'm explaining the template. Here, hobby knife. I'm using a hobby knife because my wire come insulated, so I need to slice the insulation off. Here, ruler that I'll need to measure the length of the copper wire, and scissors for cutting out the template. Okay, so now that we have the materials needed covered, let's go over the template. This should be facing yep, that's the right way. Okay, so the template on top, you're gonna see the former cutouts for the template, and over here you'll see one that's smaller than the other. The bigger one is the precise measurement for the dimensions that you're gonna need. So you're gonna want to use the big one if your copper round doesn't spring back. If you're using 10 Og, that shouldn't be a problem. You should be using the big one, just like me. If you're using a smaller diameter wire and it's pretty flexible, you want to use a smaller one to first get the shape down, and then fit it onto the bigger one afterwards. Because what tends to happen is, for the smaller diameter wires, you wrap it on, and then after an hour or two it just springs back and it becomes bigger. So at that point you can fit it onto the correct former template on the 5/8 inch dowel and actually just make your life easier, I guess. And so for the smaller one, wrap this around 1/2 inch dowels. I have that written on here. Use 1/2 inch dowels with this template. And on the bottom, this is the reflector plate, which you will be cutting out of a sheet of double-sided blank circuit board, and I'll explain this a little later. So for now, just cut all of these out, and we will get on with the build. after you cut the templates out, just go ahead and wrap it around a 5/8 inch rod or a 1/2 inch rod, and go ahead and tape it down so you have your former ready. Now with this former, I've gone ahead and wrapped my copper wire around it already. So you'll see I usually start at the split line. So at the split line, you see at the bottom there's this one going directly to the right, and then it wraps around. So at the split line, you really only need to start on the second rung of the split line. You'll see also a horizontal ring going around. So that's pretty much my way of saying that you start there. But to be sure, just count 1, 2. And start there. So this template you can actually use to make a up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can make a 6-turn helical out of this, but for now we're just gonna make a 4-turn helical. So after this is this copper is around, let's see, 30 centimeters. I gave myself plenty of extra wiring because it just makes it easy for me to form. I can hold on to the wire here at the end and then just wrap the rest around. And with a longer copper wire, you have more torque, so you can shape the wires more easily. Now, after you've wrapped your wire around, this should it should look like this first of all, and you want to know where to cut for the 4-turn helical. So you want to count. If you're making a 5-turn helical, you want to count 4 in between. If you're making a 4-turn helical, you want to count 3 in between. So what I have here is, I'll just show you. I'm gonna cut right here and right here. As you can see, I'm not sure how well the marker is showing, but pretty much you cut here and then you cut here both on the split line. Let's go ahead and do that, and we'll meet back up afterwards. Also, a good tip when you're cutting is give yourself a little more room. You don't have to cut right on the mark. You can cut a little bit to the left or to the right to give yourself a little more copper, because you can always sand it down if need be. So that's what I'm going to do. So you can see I've cut the excess copper off, and then now I can just pretty much slide this off. And here we have our helical. And this is pretty much all you need for the first part.